So like I mentioned on Saturday, we were going to be seeing a lot of images that were going to be surfacing over the next couple of days, and a whole bunch of items, officially or unofficially, were going to be revealed. And this is another image that was kicking around for about 2 to 3 weeks now and has finally surfaced. And we're going to talk about today the Transformers Studio Series Deluxe Class Revenge of the Fallen Sideways. Now, this is an interesting one because he's one of those designs that could never truly be done properly because of his car license. And when you learn about the whole history of Sideways, it's very similar to the same kind of pratfalls that existed for Dino with Dark of the Moon. And like the character, even if you really dive deep into it, originally he wasn't going to be in Revenge of the Fallen, and the early scripts and the early planning, there was going to be this Lamborghini character, and it was kind of just like a stand-in until they could figure out who that character was going to be, if it was going to be Barricade or not. They didn't know. And then ultimately in the end, because of the writer's strike and all kinds of other shenanigans, it just got kind of all rushed quickly together, along with the fact that up to that point, Revenge of the Fallen, all the commercial-based vehicles were all going to be GM-related. There wasn't going to be any European kind of flavor to it. And then one of the marketing directors with Audi managed to get Audi into the movie, but it was kind of at the last moment. And so that's why you don't really see much of Sideways. You kind of just see the alt mode to just be that advertisement for the Audi A8 at the time. And the R8, excuse me. And that was that, and when it even goes to a toy production standpoint, because the toys have to be developed way before Hisashi Yuki, who designed the Sideways toy for the Revenge of the Fallen toy line, he said everything kind of came at the last second and it had to be cobbled together. And that's why the toy isn't as good as it could have been, because it was all rush at the last second. This was a late addition. So why am I bringing this all up? Because when you look at what we see here today, there's a lot of questions. Just the design itself, why it's such a huge departure from what we've seen before in terms of toys, what we've seen before in terms of animation models that exist, the weapon that's included, which is this tri-blaster, very similar to that of early movie Starscream. And I think it really is in a lot of ways a fusion of a lot of different things. A lot of what we know from a robot mode design standpoint of Sideways comes from supplemental material, whether it be the video games, which he made a big role in, the Transformers The Ride 3D, which he had a big role in, and of course the video game related animation models with that, comic books, packaging art. If you look at Human Alliance Sideswipe's packaging art, in the background of the inlay art, you see a shadowy figure that's supposed to be a robot mode Sideways. So there's a lot of that, because when you go back and you watch Revenge of the Fallen, even if you do it in super slow-mo, you really see a little bit of the front of the robot mode for a blurry second, and then the back of the robot mode, and that's really it. There's not much you have to go off of. And when you compare this toy to a lot of the original 2009 toys that existed, this leans more on what the Fast Action Battler or even the Legends scale, or the smaller scale, whatever you want to call it back then, Legends it was. So it's something where I'm pretty sure Hisashi Yuki's attempt with what was the Deluxe Class and what became the Deluxe Class ultimately in the end in 2009 became a lot of the foundation of what that character's design would be for the ongoing past decade, dare I say. So now we have something where they want to go, okay, let's do a studio series of this character. Oh, it's another one of these cases like Dino, where the company, the license doesn't want to play ball, and we're going to have to do something different. When they did Studio Series Dino, they went, well, Studio Series Dino, why don't we just do what we did with video game licenses? Dino couldn't be a Ferrari in the video game, specifically the Dark of the Moon video game. So let's just do this not Ferrari kind of design. And that not Ferrari kind of design was applied also to the Studio Series 1. And while Dino looks still pretty great, especially that robot mode, it's not 100% how it looked in the film. And I think that we're going to kind of have something that's going to be the same here too, where we're going to have a alt mode that's going to be not 100% the Audi R8, specifically the Audi R8 that has the tuning by APR, which has all those little fine details, which would even more cement it being an Audi. I think it's going to be some kind of more not Audi, and then combined with the fact that we never really had a 100% cemented cinema appearing robot mode, there's probably more of a leniency with that. He did have kind of those gorilla arms in different toy interpretations, but again, there was multiple different toys of him and there was multiple different interpretations. The weapon, I don't know where that's coming from. I mean, there was no indication that he had some kind of tri-missile blaster in anything that I could remember, and that includes even supplemental material. He always had, like, you know, with the toy, he had this, like, spinning buzzsaw weapon, and that also kind of channeled from his origins where he could have been Barricade at one point, and you really, when you look at his animation model, you see a lot of those Barricade origins and a lot of that Barricade flavor. He's a weird character. He really is. I mean, not to mention if you try to like jump into his history, and at that time when all the Sidewayses were the same Sidewayses that were dimensional hopping, you know, Unicronian kind of stuff. I mean, let's not even get into that. So we're just going to ignore that completely. But this is going to be one of those tough ones. It's going to be one of those tough ones where they don't know really where to pull from, but they do know they want to do a deluxe class car, and they can't do the car license. They don't really have an on-screen robot mode to base it off of, just kind of animation models that come from other sources that then became standard later on because that's all they had to work with, because it was a character that really was added at the last second, so not really that important. He had all of 40 seconds of screen time before he was killed. So and of that 40 seconds, about 38 of them was in alt mode. So it's a tough one. It's a real tough one to kind of try to figure out. But all I'm going to say is, like, when we do see that that alt mode, it's probably not going to look like the Audi. We already can't really see the Audi logo on the front of the vehicle there, especially in the grille where the Audi logo would normally be. So it's pretty clear that they don't have the car license with this one. This is supposed to be part of the 2022 Wave 3 Studio Series stuff. So the rumors that we saw, and this was like back in January of 2022 from the listings from Target and Walmart, was that Wave 3 of Studio Series in 2022 was going to have a Transformers Dark of the Moon Bumblebee, a apparent Studio Series 86 RC, which who knows what that's going to be, and Sideways, 3 per case each, a case of 9. And that was going to be that, supposedly, according to the Walmart listing, sometime in the winter season of 2022 that all of these will be coming out. So if these are hitting the factories, as of like when we saw these images in the dark web about, I want to say, 3 weeks ago or so, that means they're already on their way to the packaging facilities in North America. So get ready for that. Probably some more stuff will surface, whether it be officially or unofficially. But it is what it is. Again, let me know what you think. I mean, there's still quite a few characters left that have to be done. I mean, just from that scene alone that Sideways was in, the Ice Cream Twins. So hopefully we'll learn more about that. But again, let me know what you think. Again, this is a weird one. I'm not angry with how it looks because of just how the origins is with that. I think the biggest question for me is, where did that gun come from? Help me out. Am I missing something? Is there like a children's book or some kind of lore that I must have missed, like some kind of super obscure stuff, or like a novel where they mention some tri-missile gun that's very similar to Starscream? I don't know. Let me know what you think. Pretty cool stuff otherwise, and hopefully we'll learn some more information later this week. We probably will.